The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Kiwi.
I was born in Wellington in 1964, and my parents came earlier from Samoa. My mother arrived in 1948, and my dad came in 1952. My dad came because he was told that New Zealand was the land of milk and honey.
I came to New Zealand in 1979. I was 9 years of age. I came from a little village back in Niue, Muchalau, Wammo, somewhere all the way down at the back of the bushes.
Well, the documentary channel is running a series of indie documentaries throughout May and June from New Zealand and around the world. Well, this one, obviously from New Zealand, it is called The Children of the Migration, telling the stories of the Pacific Island immigrants who came to New Zealand from the 1950s to the 1980s. Michelle Turner is the producer, and she joins us on the line this morning. Hello to you, Michelle.
Hello, good morning to you.
Gotta love that Hawaiian guitar, eh?
Yeah, I know. I love hearing that. It made me laugh.
Suddenly I'm off on holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
It was very nice.
It is kind of the sound of the sort of 50s into the 60s of the Pacific Island, wasn't it?
It was very much like that. When Lala, the director, did all her research, a lot of the music of that time was very indicative of sort of Pacific Islands and rolling sand, beaches with rolling waves. It was that was the sort of sense that you got of that time.
What really was special about the immigration from the Pacific Island communities to New Zealand at that time?
Well, I think it was extraordinary because I think, as David says, his father came with, the perception they were given was that it was the land of milk and honey, and that they would come and there would be a much better life, and in some cases that was very true, and a lot of people were very happy, but I think they also had a very difficult time. He also says that, he arrived at Wellington Railway Station, it's a howling southerly, and he had his lava, and, it could be also incredibly bleak, and they also got a very difficult time. So it's a immigrant story that's universal, but I do think it's particularly interesting because it's the Pacific and, it's our area.
Well, what were the politics of the time? Was there a drive from the government to get more people from the Pacific Islands into New Zealand?
There was really. I think it was, a lot of it was deemed as very cheap labour, and so, which it was, and they did come in sort of droves. And then, of course, as you progress into the 70s, which I think the documentary shows, you get the whole Muldoon area and the Dawn raids.
Yeah.
So again, this is a very universal theme. Immigrants come, they do the sort of service jobs, and then suddenly people are feeling, oh my God, we're being overrun, which of course is stupid. That doesn't happen at all.
Yeah.
And they create lives here and have families and have fantastic communities and make New Zealand what it is today.
Yeah, and in creating communities, change the cultural landscape.
Exactly, and now you have wonderful Brotown, and it's fantastic what New Zealand has become, and that also includes other cultures, Asian and European, but Pacific. I think Pacific Islands was such a huge part of us. So yes, I think politically initially it was, but it altered, as always does.
Yeah, and you kind of forget that, for all peoples of New Zealand, our time here has been so short.
Exactly, yes. Europeans were hardly kind of, had been here for a long time.
Yeah.
We also were very new. We're a country of newcomers, obviously apart from the Maori.
And so therefore we're watching all this change and development right before our eyes right now.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're seeing, as that documentary shows, this is the whole next generation. These are the children of the immigrants.
Yeah.
Who are now coming and developing New Zealand into what it is.
And now into being celebrated New Zealanders. The documentary features All Blacks,
yes.
Sports people, actresses.
Yes, Oscar Kite, everyone. And yet everyone, also people's dads who were watersiders, who were, handled luggage at the airport. What I love about our documentaries, we don't just hopefully show famous people, we show the everyday people who also made New Zealand what they are and are a big part of those communities.
And I'd imagine a big part of this documentary was also drawing on old archival footage.
Oh, yes. Lala spent days and days and days, and the archives out here in Avalon were just fantastic. They have such a wonderful resource, and it was very difficult choosing what would go in. I was worried we wouldn't get enough archive footage and that we'd be really struggling, but in fact it was the opposite case.
Yeah.
And they are very, very helpful, and their sort of resource and facility setup is great.
And got to say what a goldmine NZ On Screen is at the moment. The footage I'm currently showing over the live video stream is from NZ On Screen. They've got a 10-minute snapshot of the documentary.
Oh, great. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
I'm sure the rights were sorted out somehow.
Oh, I'm sure they were. No, I mean, yes, I'm sure they were. But that's great. No, I think that's also a great resource, and it's amazing how it's now so much more available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the doco is getting another breath of life.
I know.
Which is great.
To the documentary channel, we're very happy. Yeah.
This Saturday, the 26th of June at 9:30 p.m. Michelle, thanks so much for talking to us about it.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Michelle Turner there, producer of Children of the Migration. And don't forget, this indie documentary series does continue throughout the rest of June and into July as well.